Last time I saw him, he was holding on to his last breath. I had got off the radio station with Angie Martinez, and she asked me on the air, how do you feel about Puffy and Biggie? And I said what I felt. They're my homeboys, I love them. When I got back to the hotel, it was a whole nother atmosphere. So when we got on the plane to go back to LA the next day, Suge didn't let none of my security ride with me. I had to ride with him, his homies, and Pac. I'm like, what's up, Pac? And they do me like this. So I walked to the back of the plane, give me a blanket, grab me a knife, a fork, the blanket over my nose right here, and ride like this the whole flight.
Snoop was desperate to feel safe, but he'd been trapped in a life of violence and fear for years.
At 12 years old, you join a gang.
If you're a young black guy growing up at that time, drugs and gangs were as much a part of your life as stoplights and street signs.
It got to a point to where my mother kicked me out because she felt like I was bringing too much drama to her house. I had just turned 17.
Jesus, and what do you do? It's not like you got somewhere to go. Where did you go?
When Snoop bonded with rapper Tupac, it seemed like he'd found the family he always wanted.
Fell in love with that. Me and him started hanging out, building a brotherhood with him.
We represent both sides of the game, the calm one and the relentless one.
Snoop thought he was untouchable until the violence caught up with him.
You got into hip-hop like, okay, now I can leave some of this behind. And
I came right with him.
Snoop and his bodyguard, they were driving down the street in the Jeep, and this guy was trying to say something to them.
He had a gun and he was going for it. And my bodyguard reacted.
Snoop's bodyguard shot and killed Philip Waldemarian.
It was traumatic and didn't know what to do. I want to go turn myself in and let them know what happened.
Snoop turns himself in for first-degree murder. Immediately, Suge gets him released on $1 million bond, 10 p.m. house arrest.
My heart was beating every day. And me and Pac got into it because he wanted me to stay gangster. And I was like, cuz, I got a baby on the way. I have a lot to live for. Somebody's life was lost. This is a real situation. I don't feel like y'all feel. I have actual remorse. I feel bad. I don't want to live this gangster life no more.
We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant not guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
Tupac wanted him to stay loyal, but Snoop was desperate for peace.
There was a lot of tension between East Coast and West Coast rappers.
Pac was adamant about the beef that he had between Biggie and him. It was serious.
There's no dream of making an album with Biggie and Puffy.
Pac had the spirit of animosity, revenge, retaliation.
Shakur has accused rappers Puff Daddy and Notorious B.I.G. of involvement in his New York shooting.
And I never felt like they had something to do with it because it just didn't feel right. They was his friends at the time.
Shot me 5 times. I came out of jail and sold 5 million.
And things escalated beyond just Tupac and Biggie.
When you see a Vibe magazine, when you see Puff and Biggie on the cover and see East versus West, niggas in the hood don't read articles.
So all these suckers, they battling off of East and West like this is a game. This ain't no game.
Rapper Tupac Shakur put out a diss track insinuating he slept with Biggie's wife.
When he played it for me, I was like, cuz, I ain't really feeling that, cuz.
You thought he took it too far. And then in the middle of all that, you and I have this big interview.
He said, so how do you feel about Puffy and Biggie? I said, I'm cool with them. I want to do some music with them. I want to work with them. Tupac took it as if I wasn't down with him no more. Death Row looked at me as like a traitor.
You had sided with the enemy.
Snoop had no idea that the tense plane ride home would be the last time he'd see Tupac alive.
My didn't say nothing to me the whole ride, and that's a 5-hour flight on a private plane. I get off the plane, I'm like, cuz, you going to Vegas? He do me like this. Went his way and he went my way. Next time I get a call, turn on the news, guys. You see yellow tape, Suge BMW.
Tupac Shakur was shot 4 times in a drive-by shooting.
He's in very critical condition and he's requiring intensive care.
I drove down there to the hospital because I wanted to see my I'm thinking that he was gonna make it. When I went to go see him, that ain't what I got. He wasn't moving, he wasn't talking, he wasn't breathing on his own. His mama, she pulled me to the side, and that's when I knew it was bad, because she telling me to be strong and all this shit. I'm like, he laid up, and I just get right on the side of his head and just start talking to him in his ear. I was whispering to him, telling him I loved him, and to hold on and he was gonna be okay. And I went in the bathroom, I fainted, I threw up, I was gone. Because me and my homie wasn't straight. I'm not even gonna be able to apologize to him, or even just to tell him, I feel you, I'm wrong, or how can we fix this?
Rap star Tupac Shakur died last night after a brief life in a rough business. He was 25.
We felt like we was untouchable until that fatal day.
In Compton, California, a gang war and 5-day bloodbath apparently left 3 men dead and 10 wounded.
Some of our shootings may be in retaliation for the events that happened in Las Vegas.
Police say they've had 12 shootings and an increase of violence in Compton since September 7th.
And we was right in the middle of all of that madness and the deaths and the tragedy.
After losing Tupac, Snoop knew he had to break free of the violence.
I've been dealing with this my whole life. And even as a kid, my homies started dying from gangbanging. Like, all the time. And I look back at all of the rappers that was writing about death. They all dead. I got a baby. I got a wife. I wanted to live. When I was younger, I had no respect. I just did whatever I wanted to do. But as I become a grown man, it's my job to do what's right. You have to start doing some things that matter for the future.
By choosing love over fear, Snoop honored Tupac's legacy and built the belonging he'd always wanted.
Pac was taught how to love at a very early age. And through his music, he shared the love with all of us. My life is not based off of me being a gangbanger. It's based off of me being positive, finding ways to help others. When you start to educate, when you start to teach the little homies on how to do better and not to do what you did. The key to this thing is bringing people together. Project more of a positive energy over negativity. Always keeping peace and love at the forefront of everything.